Well, here we go. So, today was not a good day. Realistically, looking at the markets upon reflection overall, this should have been a piece of piss. But we just got the wrong idea. We were trying to trade, with an idea. We would come down into these areas of demand. We were sort of adding into this as we went. We were anticipating a bounce. Across the time frames, there was just so much going on. There was pivot points, there was EMAs, there was, all this sort of stuff that, under normal circumstances would cause a bounce, but we didn't have any bounce whatsoever, unfortunately, and we tried to be a bit of a clever dick. It didn't help that last night we were sort of, did a bit of practicing, trading, where we sort of, adding into this, as we go, start off with one contract, just adding in by one contract over time, and getting those bounces out of these demand zones and away from these, EMA. So if you're wrong small, and if you're right bigger, because you're only starting out with one contract, and, it allows you to sit through a little bit of drawdown because you're adding in again. I don't know. It was just an idea. Sort of works on some trades, doesn't work on others. I think the issue is here we've just had this big sell-off, and I was just sort of hoping for a bounce around here, never actually got it, and we ended up it was just too much, too big. So this was quite a long trade. We were sat in this for about 10 minutes, so obviously I've sped things up a little bit because but anyway, just one of those things. It really realistically hit, but again, it's like, all right, you're $100 in drawdown now. Do you cut it off? Well, 100 EMAs there, we might get that bounce, and then you're into this other area of sort of sell before the buy. You're gonna come out of it, and I think realistically, we should have recognised that the market was just coming down a little bit too fast, a little bit too urgently, that, finding a bounce wasn't really going to happen. I think if it just sort of grinded its way down there, you're more likely to get that reaction, rather than just the market hammering its way down. We just got the wrong idea of it. Needless to say, we blew this funded account today. Obviously, we don't have much drawdown to play with. And we got it wrong, because we're averaging in, so we're sort of allowing for a bit of drawdown there. We've set take profit lines, which in hindsight's a mistake. Realistically, we should do it the other way. Even though we are sort of happy to sit in a bit of drawdown and add into it as we go down, still anticipating a bounce, we do still need to have an appropriate stop loss on there, just to make sure that we're not going to get hit by this massive fucking fuck you on your account candle, which is exactly what happened a bit later on. So it just is what it is, it's fucking one of those things. But we definitely got the wrong end of the stick today. We had the wrong idea. So finally, we're starting to have a bounce. But even then, not really what we want to be trading, because we got that big wick on the previous 5-minute candle. We don't really want to be buying into that, but we did. This one did work out for us, admittedly. But yeah, not just again, I think a bit of frustration kicking in. Accounts in a fair bit of drawdown. I think we took some trades and didn't record them. Some trades that worked out a little bit. I don't even fucking remember, to be honest. Yeah, this one weren't too bad, but not great. Right, yeah, so this one's starting to look like a bit of a V-shaped recovery, and this is where the account gets blown. Yeah, just ended up poor. I think ultimately it was just poor trade management. You know, we didn't have stop losses set on there. We didn't, you know, it just weren't a good setup either. It weren't really a good trade setup. It just didn't look like it was going to go properly. Yeah, it was just the wrong idea, and we lost the account because of it. Yeah, I think got a little bit too bogged down with this idea of sort of adding into trades as we go in, you know, so we don't have to be afraid of sitting through a bit of drawdown if we just add into the trades and stuff like blah, blah, blah. It just didn't really work, you know, it didn't work out at all. So it is what it is, you know, we go again. And in actual fact, you know, despite losing a funded account, which is a shame, and to lose it so quickly after it's been, you know, we've only had it a couple of days, you know, after passing it, so that's a shame, but, you know, we bought another eval and we ended up 100 quid up on that, so, you know, I don't mind. I think we'll definitely get this one. The time to pass a second eval will be a lot shorter. I'm not saying that, you know, I can sort of guarantee that we'll pass this particular one, but I don't think it'll take us too long to get another one passed. Which is the famous last words, obviously, you know. But yeah, I don't think it'll take us too long, or I certainly hope that it doesn't take us too long. I don't think it will, though. We should be alright. We'll see.